Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be reading some Am I the Butthole? So if that sounds like something you'd be into, then do stick around and enjoy. Also, just a quick note, I have, like the greedy pig I am, bitten the side of my tongue whilst eating some crisps. So if I sound a little bit off, that is why my tongue hurts quite a lot right now. Okay, let's get into it. First up, am I the butthole for not inviting my partner's ex to our wedding, even though they have a child together? My fiance 30M and I 31F are getting married soon, and we're finalising the guest list. He has a daughter from a previous relationship, and we're trying to include her as much as possible. The issue is his ex, her mother, who expects to be invited to the wedding. For context, me and my fiance have the... Okay, that really threw me off then because it says finance. And I thought, have I read this wrong? No, I guess they meant to say fiance. Me and my fiance have the daughter most of the time. Her mother gets her maybe a weekend a month. She's a nice person, but she has a lot of problems with drinking too heavily and then becomes a less nice person. Okay, so at first I was thinking, if it's the child's mother, then it doesn't hurt to invite her. But if she's got a drink problem, and the relationship, I imagine, between you, your fiance, and her is probably strained because of that, because I highly doubt your fiance likes the fact that his child's mother is an alcoholic by the sounds of it. I can understand not wanting to invite her, because if she becomes quite rowdy after drink, then yeah, you're not going to want to ruin your special day with your ex's rowdy partner. I completely get it. I'm on your side right now. But of course, with these posts, that could change, so I'm going to continue to read on, because you never know. While I understand that she's an important figure in our daughter's life, I'm just not comfortable with the idea of her there at the wedding. From what I know, she's not made steps towards stopping with her drinking problem, and I can only imagine what kind of choices she would make at the wedding, and I don't want the stress of that on the day. Absolutely fair. She and I had a pretty good relationship for the sake of the daughter, but there has been some tension and disagreements in the past. Making sense so far? For instance, when she came over drunk before and said that she wanted to see her daughter more, that I'm pretending to be her mother, etc. I can understand where it's coming from, and she is nice, but she ultimately has problems that she's not willing to confront at the moment. I've tried to talk to her about it before, more for the daughter's sake, but she just brushes it off, even when she's sober. I want our wedding day to be about me and my fiancé rather than any potential awkwardness or drama. Absolutely, I agree. My fiancé wants to keep things amicable for our daughter, and he also has a feeling that his ex is already annoyed that we're getting married, and this only got worse when she realised she wasn't invited. Okay, I would love a bit more context on that, but I don't think we get it. But understands my feelings on it. His ex has already expressed her displeasure about not being invited, and I'm worried that it will create more issues. However, I do want our wedding day to be focused on celebrating us without the stress of anything that she might do. Am I the butthole? No, I don't think so. If you're worried that she's going to cause problems, and she is an active alcoholic at the moment, she has active issues with drink, then I completely understand, because also you've got to think it's not going to be nice for your fiance's daughter either. She's thinking, oh, this is going to be a really good day. You know, my dad and my stepmom are getting married. It's going to be a lovely day. And then just think about how much it would traumatize her if her mum got drunk and kicked off and caused a massive scene. It'd be awful for her as well. So I don't think you're the butthole for not wanting to invite her. And you don't have to invite anyone you don't want to your own wedding anyway. You don't even need a reason. If you don't want them there, you don't have to have them there. I completely understand why you don't. I do feel for his daughter's mother, because clearly she has some sort of issues with addiction. I've known people with alcohol issues in my family, and it's not nice to watch, because they aren't nice people when they're actively in that. But at the same time, there has to be a certain level of understanding that an addiction is a horrible mental illness that people need a lot of help to get out of, but ultimately they need to help themselves first. They can't be helped until they reach out and accept that there is something wrong, and it doesn't sound like she's there yet. So yeah, I don't think you're the butthole. I think you're doing the right thing just to keep the peace for the day, and she doesn't need to be there. Ultimately, she does not need to be there. Not the butthole. Okay, next one, and this is a long one. One moment. No. going to leave that in there so you can hear what I have to deal with. That was my cat stealing hair ties and chewing them up, and I just heard her doing it behind me. She's so naughty. She is a tortoiseshell sphinx. So not only is she a naughty tortie, she's also a sphinx, which are also insane, but I love her to pieces. You're naughty though, aren't you? Yes. She's now sitting there sulking because I've taken the hair ties off her. I don't even know where she got it from. I thought I'd hidden them all. I have no idea where she found that one. Anyway, moving on. Am I the butthole? Mother-in-law mad. She can't come with. This is a long one, by the way, so strap in. I, 29F, have had a sick husband, 30M, get a terrible diagnosis. I am very sorry to hear that. This all started back in September when my husband went to a regular physician and they found a strange lump on his neck. 3 weeks since the first appointment, my husband's lump got bigger, so we had to go to the ER because he was having issues breathing. 6 hours in the ER later, he gets tests done and we get the news that it's pushing on his trachea and it is a lump on his thyroid. Gets to the end of the ER visit and the doctor was saying he was going to have to be admitted into a town 1 hour over. We panic and call close family and the news was upsetting for me, but I calmed down eventually. The ER doctor makes a few calls and a specialist says they will see my husband tomorrow, but due to some testing, he can breathe and doesn't need to be admitted. This is important, I promise. Enter with telling mother-in-law. She is hysterical and insists on coming to the hospital. We tell her that he is being discharged. Calmed her down, and she wants to go to the appointment with the specialist the next day, and we all go to get the diagnosis, not a big deal. We ended up getting thyroid diagnosis and have a few appointments for husband. Get biopsies done due to inconclusive data. Eventually, we come to a few days ago. My husband gets results from the doctor and is told he has a malignant tumour with cancer cells, so he needs it expedited. We have had surgeon's consultation for him. He wanted it just to be me and him since his mum has been at every appointment and has been getting overwhelmed by her presence. After talking it back and forth, I am trying to make my husband as comfortable as possible. He has had a hard time with stuff physically and emotionally, but has been trying to keep strong in front of me. I don't communicate with his mum often because we have a negative history during this time and that doesn't matter to me, and we have been civil and get along. After a talk this morning I told his mum that it would just be me and him for surgery. I would take him for the surgery, just me and him. There would be an overnight recovery and I would stay with him all night. She asked why she couldn't go. She was upset and got mad when I told her she couldn't go. I get where she is coming from, wanting to be there the day of the surgery, but my husband has been juggling it back and forth. Having her there makes him stress. She brought up some past stuff that we still have issues. However, I feel bad for making the situation worse on my husband because she blames me for not allowing her to go. I have communication with husband about his wishes since this is his surgery, and he's the one dealing with the medical issues. It's his choice if he wants to allow her. Yeah, if he doesn't want her there, then he doesn't have to have her there. She's going to have to suck it up and deal with that. I just want to know, am I the asshole for telling her she can't go? I feel like this isn't about me or her. It should be setting aside our issues and doing what's best for him. I just need to vent and would love input. Thank you. No, definitely not. It's your husband's decision. If he doesn't want her there, he doesn't have to. It's his medical care. It's his cancer journey. I am sure that he is extremely stressed, scared, everything else in between. And if somebody's going to be sitting there freaking out next to him every minute of the treatment process, it's not going to help him on the way to healing. Stress has been proven to really put healing and recovery on the back foot for a lot of illnesses. He needs to do what's best for him. You need to do what's best for you. She needs to suck it up and be a good parent and accept her son's wishes. Absolutely not the butthole. Next up, am I the butthole for requesting an explanation for my money being spent without my consent? This past summer, I underwent a lengthy surgical procedure that required several weeks in the hospital out of town and several months follow-up. I needed to have someone stay and help me over those first 8 weeks, so I rented a large house on the water with a pool. Sounds very nice way to recover. I wanted those who came to help me to have an enjoyable environment. Friends and family offered to help and a schedule was made. Basically, people made it a vacation and met my needs while enjoying the amenities. That's the best way to do it, isn't it? So then no one feels put out. I bet it was a really nice, relaxing environment. Well, for the most part. But I'm assuming we're going to get into some drama here. My late husband's sister was the first to take advantage of the great setup. She stayed a week, she arrived while I was still in hospital, and then hustled out as fast as possible and left the day I was discharged. She didn't bother to visit me while I was in the hospital as she didn't like the traffic. Effectively, doing nothing for me but enjoying the beautiful home and amenities. Prior to the surgery, I let her know that I was leaving 1,000. Sorry, I'm struggling to read those little dots. Is that a comma or a dot? Yeah, I think it's $1,000 in the home to be used exclusively for items needed for the house. Paper and laundry products and cleaning supplies. Also, any needs for my dog, who would be at the house when I was discharged. Imagine my shock when I discovered she spent all of the money in 6 short days. What? Cheeky mare. Hurt and feeling used, I decided to table the issue till I was feeling better. As I was recovering, I was not texting or answering calls, phone was off. I needed all my energy for my literal survival. There was no consideration for what I was going through, and thus no communication from me. Absolutely. Weeks later, her husband made a feeble attempt to admonish me for not texting and calling her, to make her feel better. Sorry, not sorry, was my response to this entitled one. Absolutely, you tell him. Nearly 3 months later, I was back home and she came to visit. After a pleasant visit, I asked what made her think that it was okay to spend all of the money I had left for use at the house. Oh, I'd love to hear her response to this. I can't wait. She said she had given me receipts for her expenses. This is true. She began charging me before she left home. What? Body wash, breakfast, chewing gum. Then she stated she used it to stock up the kitchen. I asked, for who? Since it was bits of leftovers, for who was she leaving these? She had several notes stating she used her own credit card and no receipt available, listing foods and gas. She has an electric car. Come on now. If you're going to use gas as an excuse, at least make sure your car takes gas. Then she stated that I had gifted it to her. I reminded her that I had not and my instructions. And then she stated it was her expense account. I asked why she thought she was entitled to an expense account and what made her think I would provide one. When I originally rented the house, she shared that she had been bragging to friends about her wonderful vacation planned at my summer rental. I fully realised that this bridge is burned, though I cannot imagine what difference it could make. Yeah, no, that she seems really, really entitled. I mean, as well, I could understand maybe spending, I don't know. Oh, no, I couldn't, because she's one person. How she could... I was about to say I could understand spending half over the week, but she's one person. One person doesn't need that much food. And her car's electric. So the gas is not an excuse. Yeah, she just seems entitled. I bet she spent your money on enjoying herself, basically. And that was not the reason you rented the place in the first place. Yeah, what a nightmare. And oh, check me out. I actually remembered to take note of some of the comments this time. Most of the time I forget to look at the comments, but I didn't. And I'm going to add in a couple comments if I have a couple. Because again, I screenshot ahead of time so that I can just record these when my children are at school. It makes it so much easier for me. I could just run through all my screenshots. So I'll read the comments I have. So, top comment from Latents. Not the butthole for being upset at her callous behaviour at your expense. If you want to wholly burn that bridge, feel free to wham your family about her behaviour so that they can all protect themselves or their loved ones from her selfishness and theft if they ever are in a similarly vulnerable position. Yes, tell everyone. Shame her. Shame. Never leave sister-in-law unsupervised near anything of value, and don't worry about being more generous to others than her where she can see. She has already helped herself to her total share of your kindness, generosity, and consideration for others. Everything remaining can fairly only be given to others without guilt. Absolutely. She should be grateful that you haven't filed a police report for theft. Yes, absolutely. And then someone else said, right, she's a thief. I would ask for the money back, or I'll either sue her for it or call the police. Bridge on fire, not the butthole. See, I don't know where you'd get with suing her for it, because obviously you left it in the house for the guests to use. Even though there was instructions, I'm sure that there's some legal loophole around that because of the fact that you left that money there for people to use. But however, morally, it is wrong that she used all that money, and she flaming well knows it is. So no, not the butthole. Burn that bridge. You don't need people like that in your life at all. Okay, so I think we'll make this one the last one for the day. Would I be the butthole if I do not give my partner equity in the house in exchange for housework? I have no idea how equity works, by the way. I'm just going to preface this with that. So if I end up making myself sound dumb at some point through this, apologies, and please don't roast me for it. This dispute involves the following parties: me, 33F, and my partner, 36M. Throwaway. So it's a throwaway account. I have a good corporate job. I bought a townhouse 7 years ago when I was single. Met my partner 3 years ago. He moved into my townhouse, pays occasional, well below market value, rent, buys occasional groceries. I cover well over 80+% of the expenses. My partner is a PhD student. When he moved in with me, he cut a lot of expenses. He no longer had to work his crappy part-time job to pay his rent in a shared apartment with 4 other guys. My partner does more housework than I, 60-40 split, and he cooks more often, 65-35. I do not mind this arrangement. I care about him deeply, and we generally get along well and have a caring relationship. That's good. That's good that you get on. We see so many posts that they don't get on at all and they hate each other. So, I mean, I suppose that's a positive. The issue is this. I am selling my townhouse and buying a house. I am fronting the entire cost and I'm the only one on the mortgage. Before we moved in, I asked my partner to sign a cohabitation agreement, basically a prenup for non-married people. I gave him the agreement, which basically said I keep the house and doesn't owe spousal support in the event of a breakup. I mean, would you have to anyway, considering you're not married? I don't know. I don't know where you live. I don't know how it works. We got in a big fight because my partner wants to have equity in the house because of the housework he does. No, you put no money into buying the house. You barely pay bills. So no, I'm not being funny. And it sounds like OP does help with the cleaning and the cooking anyway, as well as paying more than over her fair share of the bills. No. What is with people? I think this is unfair. I know enough divorced couples to know you should always plan for the future. I'm worried about having to sell the house if we break up in order to pay him out. But his name's not on the house, right? You bought the house, it's your house. No, if it's your house, you bought it, he gets nothing. Tough titties. Go deal with it. Crazy? Am I the butthole if I stick to my guns? Edit. A few people are asking why this is even an issue if we aren't married. Okay, so we're going to get an answer to what I asked too. In my jurisdiction, if you cohabitate long enough, you are considered common law spouses. We are getting to the point where if we break up, he would have a lot of the same rights as he would if we were married. Right. Bid him off before then. No, but seriously, I feel like you should, because I think that he will be a problem if he gets those rights. And he really is not entitled to it by the sounds of it. Okay, so comment from East Parking 8340. 60% of the housework does not equal half a home. That's called pulling your weight. Except he doesn't, as his financial contribution is close to zero. Exactly what I said. How utterly ridiculous of him. He's 36 and a PhD student. As soon as he moved in, he stopped working as much. Really bad sign, yes. But I'd bet everything that he doesn't use that additional time to speed up his PhD. By the time he gets it, he'll be lucky if he's 40. Then what? His resume will be so crappy that he won't get a high-paying job. He'll just keep on leeching from you. You have to subsidize his life since before he moved in, and he just sees you as a money tree. He's put no cash towards it whatsoever and will not put any money towards it in the future. You'd be a complete and utter idiot if you, a bit harsh, if you allowed him any type of legal toehold on your property. Frankly, you'd be an absolute dunderhead if you maintain a relationship with such a user, not the butthole. I mean, kind of harsh, but I don't disagree, to be honest. I think that this comment is pretty nail on the head. So yeah, absolutely. And on that note, we're going to leave that there for today. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have made it to the end, then I thank you very, very much. Feel free to like and subscribe. It helps me in the algorithms. And it also helps you find me again, because I post every single day. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, come back. Goodbye.